Folks, I've got an update for you guys on the Oliver Tree situation, and some of this might surprise you. It sounds like the exact reason that he was on that helicopter that crashed has now surfaced. It sounds like we might actually know exactly why that helicopter crashed, and there's just some really sad images coming out and more backstory about, why he might have been there, what was going on. And look, I don't believe the conspiracy that his label killed him, but a lot of people have been spreading this story that his label might have had something to do with his death. It was very coincidental that he left the label just before his death. He just put out an album weeks before his death, and he did it independently, and there's all these rumors going around his label might have had something to do with it. Now, I don't believe that, but I will show you some very interesting videos from shortly before he got on that helicopter of him talking about the situation with his label, and I think it is really interesting, even if I'm not buying the conspiracy theories personally, but it is just messed up, man. It's messed up. It's all bad. So I'm just going to show you everything that's going on. So there's a few new pictures that have come out from the scene. Obviously, you probably are aware of the situation now if you watched any of my previous videos or any of the news. There's sort of more photographs of emergency services working at the scene where the helicopters landed in this electric vehicle parking lot. And, we're kind of just seeing like a little bit more of a detail of the debris, the crash, the aftermath. So what is interesting, I'm going to show you this clip in a minute. There's a few clips that are circulating of him. Obviously, that's the footage of the collision and the crash. So let me tell you exactly how this collision ended up happening first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the stuff they're saying about his label. But even in posts like this that are going around, this is on Change of Plans on Instagram, they said it's what a coincidence. Reports indicate that Oliver Tree died at 32 after a mid-air collision between two helicopters in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Authorities still investigating the cause of the crash. There's no verified evidence the crash was connected to comments about Atlantic Records or any dispute with his former label, and reports do note that he had recently left Atlantic Records and released his last album independently through Alien Boy Records. So this is why he was in the air. So there's videos now going around of him talking about his plans to take helicopters and people, asking whether or not they could get in on the helicopter trip and things like that. So he had intended all along to be taking helicopters around. So look at this.
But honestly, bro, you got to come tonight. So I'm going to fly in on the helicopter at 11 p.m. What helicopter? We have a...
So I don't know if I'm going to get copyrighted because his song's playing in the background of this. Hopefully it's all good. But, he's talking about we're planning to get a helicopter. We've got a chopper. We're flying between places. This is just 3 weeks before the crash. So obviously we're finding out that he was flying between different countries. He had shows in, Chile, Argentina, and Brazil in the weeks before his death. So he was clearly trying to get around very quickly via helicopter.
Chopper. I can't probably get you on the helicopter this time because we have a full house. Maybe I can kick my parents off it. All right, I'm going to head up there.
So he was talking about flying around in helicopters. If that clip got removed because of copyright reason, he basically said, yeah, I'm planning to go there in helicopter. I'm going to try and get you onto the chopper. That's what he's saying. Now, apparently, this is the latest news. Apparently, this is what's going on. So, allegedly, this helicopter was actually operating as an illegal air taxi. This is one of the helicopters that crashed on Sunday morning, had previously been the subject of complaints filed with Brazil's National Civil Aviation Agency, the ANAC, for allegedly operating as an illegal air taxi service. The aircraft, registered as PPMAC, was carrying 5 people when it collided mid-air with another helicopter, which was labeled PRDJJ. It then crashed into a vehicle storage yard belonging to BYD, triggering multiple explosions. Obviously, Oliver Tree was among the victims, and apparently, according to the records from the Civil Aviation Authority, this helicopter was not authorized to carry out commercial passenger transport operations. So PPMAC was registered to a company called Turfic Comercio de Frutas Ltda, owned by Oswaldo de Luca Filo, and was carrying 5 of the 6 people killed in the crash. The 6th victim was operating the other aircraft, and that I originally thought maybe they were filming a music video, they were filming him in a helicopter from another helicopter. It sounds like this might have been a genuine crash by an unlicensed air taxi operating in an area they shouldn't have been operating in. It says, according to documents obtained by Metropolis, ANAC begun investigating alleged irregularities involving the PPMAC copter in March 2025 after a complaint alleged that the companies Star VIP and Heli VIP were marketing and operating illegal air taxi services using helicopter from Jacarepaguá Airport in Rio de Janeiro. Neither company had responded to requests for comment at the time of publication. The complaint submitted to the agency claimed the aircraft was operating with expired maintenance, and its flight log contained inconsistencies regarding total flight hours. The ANAC inspectors formally requested explanations from Turfic, but the company reportedly ignored the notifications. So obviously this is another picture I don't think I'd seen. But apparently this is something that has happened before, and there are actually videos of other helicopter to helicopter collisions that actually filmed from inside. So there's a clip that's going around that some people were trying to say is this incident, but actually it's another incident that's near identical in Brazil, and this one's filmed from inside the helicopter. So this right here is apparently footage from a near identical incident also in Brazil, I believe, where two helicopters collided, and this was actually filmed from inside the helicopter. It's not the same incident. Some people are saying that this is the same incident, but it's actually not. But as you're going to see, this is a thing that happens, and this is probably what was going on before the images of the helicopter on the ground. So this is what it would have been like. Okay, trigger warning. We're not going to see anyone get hurt, but we are going to see the helicopter to helicopter collision. We're going to see what it's like from inside the helicopter when another helicopter hits you. I don't actually know what happened in this accident, but this is the same circumstances, and this is something that's apparently been happening in Brazil. These unlicensed air taxis, they're big problems. So I'll leave it there, okay? But that is what happens. These air taxis do really genuinely be crashing into each other, and it's just bad. So I've just translated the text that is actually on this post just so you can get a little bit more context. It says, this is a tragic accident involving two helicopters in Rio de Janeiro. Exact same place. It was brought to the forefront the debate about safety of this type of operation. Mid-air collisions are extremely rare in world aviation. They have been recorded in other countries, and it's a big deal for safety protocols. So apparently this occurred in January 2023. Oh, so it's saying this happened in... Is this... Okay, my bad. This actually, I believe, happened in Australia. This was captured on video. It said, January 2023 in Australia, two tourist helicopters collided during landing and takeoff maneuvers in the Gold Coast, resulting in 4 fatalities. The images of that incident became an international reference for studies on visual traffic coordination, risk management, and simultaneous procedures in commercial operations. Despite the seriousness of cases like these, aviation remains an activity guided by rigorous training, coordination systems between pilots, and strict traffic control standards whenever applicable. In the specific case that occurred in Rosario dos Bandeirantes, the technical investigation will be fundamental to identify the contributing factors in the collision and define preventative measures that guarantee the safety of future operations. So it sounds like this was just straight up an unlicensed air taxi that basically crashed into another helicopter, and just absolutely tragic disaster. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you really, really broke my heart. I'm not going to lie to you. It's clear to me that this actually happened. What probably happened was he landed in Rio de Janeiro. He was in, I believe, Sao Paulo to play his show about a week before. I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, it sounds like what probably happened is he flew to Rio de Janeiro from Sao Paulo via a plane, likely, and then had attempted to take an air taxi from the airport to wherever he was staying. And the reason why I believe this is because there's now images of his luggage on the ground after the crash that's circulating. And I think what's really sad about this, I'm going to warn you, you're not going to see anything graphic here, but just the symbolism of this is really sad. Because his trademark sweater that he is known to wear, the light blue and pink sweater that is his trademark, was actually seen inside of his luggage. So this is the image that was captured. This is allegedly Oliver Tree's luggage on the ground. Oliver Tree's luggage and wreckage from the helicopter where the singer died along with 5 other people. That is his sweater. The pink, blue, and yellow, that's his sweater that he's been known to wear. And you know this is iconic, really, and it's just so sad to actually see that is clearly the same sweater. And it just really, really breaks your heart. Now, some people are saying, how are these belongings intact? Well, the collision could have been so bad that, his stuff just flew out. It just flew out before the plane hit the ground and caught fire. The whole thing could have been sent just miles away, and this is a Rimowa suitcase. This is probably like a couple bands. These are very, very expensive. They're very sturdy. They're very strong. But it's just so tragic to actually see that his belongings left out there in that way. And that's his signature. That's his trademark sweater, man. It's actually just heartbreaking just to see that like that. The exact same sweater, man. So look, I'm going to just remind you guys about this conspiracy that's going around. This is kind of what's been going around. You know, this was a post. I read this yesterday, but I'll just give you guys an update and then I'm going to give you more context. It's saying 2 months after he released his album independently, Oliver Tree is no longer with us. And this was a post. He said that he dropped his Love You Madly, Hate You Badly album April the 24th. It was recorded in 82 different countries across 7 continents. And I said the only silver lining with this situation is before he died, he got to see the whole world. He went on this 2-year tour all over the world and he really got to live life before he passed away, which is just like the only silver lining to the situation. But as he said, he did everything behind. He said, after everything behind the scenes, I left my label Atlantic so I can release this independently on Alien Boy Records. It's the album I fought the hardest for. So he dropped this album completely independently, and obviously conspiracies are going around that maybe the label had something to do with it. Now, I don't believe the label had anything to do with his death, but I have now seen a few new resurfaced clips where he's actually digging deeper and explaining his issues with Atlantic, and it's really, really interesting. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some of what he said that's now resurfaced, and it's going to give you just some backstory. I don't believe the label killed him, but he was clearly going through a lot of his label before he died. So we're about to see.
Let's talk about it. After making tens of millions of dollars over 8 years.
My bad. You cut the start off there.
Record label, let's talk about it. After making tens of millions of dollars over 8 years for Atlantic Records, they no longer want to support my art because I'm not making songs for TikTok. And after dedicating my entire life to making art, I never got into this to make TikTok songs. I know the effects of TikTok. I've had multiple songs that connected there, but that's not why I got into making art. Over the last 2.5 years, I traveled 82 countries and recorded this album on all 7 continents. These are the types of projects that charge me as an artist. This is why I got into it in the first place. And just because I'm not making songs for TikTok means that the label doesn't want to support the vision. Well, guess what? I don't give a shit. And after you guys have joined together in tens of thousands and sent messages to the label, we have officially reached a negotiation over the past course of a week. My team has got the label to agree to release Love You Madly, Hate You Badly on my personal imprint, Alien Boy Records. You guys, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This music is finally going to see daylight. So support your local indie artists and go pre-order my album. April 24th is the official date. I love you all.
So he was going through it with the label. He was fighting with them to get this released. And, you know, he said he made them tens of millions of dollars. They don't want to support him because he wasn't trying to do songs for TikTok. Now, there's another clip that's going around as well. This one. So I think there's a little bit of an intro to this one. But so look, I'm not supporting the conspiracy theory, but this guy's made a video. He's sort of talking about the conspiracy theory. But to be honest, I don't believe the conspiracy theory. So there's actually another video going around. I'm going to show you this one instead. Instagram's not playing ball with me today. One second.
That my album is no longer coming out. Love You Madly, Hate You Badly is officially canceled, and I'm parting ways with Atlantic Records. Behind the scenes has been nothing short of a nightmare. I have no marketing budgets for music videos, no digital ad spend. Nobody really cares in the building, it seems like. I made a lot of money for Atlantic Records, and they don't seem to remember that. I have gotten no support. They forgot to ingest multiple songs into the system, which means the songs didn't come out. I had a Valentine's Day breakout song that didn't even get released because someone forgot to put it in. I don't really understand how that's possible. I've made them tens of millions of dollars, but they don't remember that. So, the music is owned by them. The remainder of the music will not be coming out. I will always continue to make music. Thank you for everyone who's supported me. I can't wait to release more music at some point at a later time, but for now, there is nothing on the horizon. I'm so sorry, and I love you guys. Thank you.
So look, he was fighting with the label. He was going to war with the label. Look, I don't think the label killed him. It sounds like they came to some kind of agreement behind the scenes to say, well, look, we're going to let you release that album. You go and do that independently. Maybe we'll catch up later. Maybe we'll do another album with you, or maybe not. I just think it's just so sad to find out that, you know, it's an illegal air taxi. I'll keep it real with you guys, bro. I ain't getting no helicopters no more. I've been in helicopters a handful of times in my life. Always terrified, always awful. And I don't say this to be facetious, but they can't even keep Kobe Bryant alive in a goddamn helicopter. They can't keep Oliver Tree. You should not. The average person shouldn't be getting a helicopter. I don't even know how they let the president fly around in helicopters. But like, if they can't keep some of the most, you know, I'm not saying a regular average person deserves to die in a helicopter. All I'm trying to say is that these things aren't safe. People shouldn't be getting around like this. Okay. And to find out that, you know, in Brazil, they're doing illegal air taxis. They're doctoring the mileage on the flight time, the flight hours on the helicopters, bro, that is out the window, bro. So I genuinely would urge anybody watching this video, think twice before you get in a helicopter, full stop. Doesn't matter if you're in the first world, the third world, the second world. I don't care if you're on Mars. think twice before you get in that helicopter. Okay, that's the best lesson I can learn from this. I don't think the label had anything to do with it. I think it was a very, very unfortunate situation. He probably didn't even know that this was some unlicensed illegal air taxi. And unfortunately, the pilots, who probably should have known better and not been doing that, they're no longer here to answer for that either. And as you saw that video of the air-to-air collision, it does seem really terrifying. And I don't think there's any way you're surviving one of those. You're falling from a great height. You're getting hit by a giant metal object with spinning propeller. It's not happening, man. So this situation just made me so sad, so upset, man. I was really, really depressed about this yesterday. So yeah, that's the latest update. I'm going to come back with kind of a bigger update because I've been digging into this story. I'm finding a lot of other very interesting details, but I'm going to kind of put everything together. I'm going to take a little bit more time to put that together. My back's kind of hurting, and today I've been sat at the desk for too long, man. But anyway, look, I hope you found that update useful. I'll keep you guys posted if I hear anything else. There's a couple other quite different topics that I want to cover for you guys today, and a few topics that are a little bit old that I would have done yesterday, but I was just so kind of emotionally wrapped up in what happened with Oliver Tree that I'd really just had to focus on that and just get to the bottom of it for myself and update you guys on what I had found. So rest in peace to Oliver Tree, man. This whole situation really, really has got me hurt. I'm just gutted to hear this. And the fact he was only 32, man, it's just heartbreaking. And like I say, that the only saving grace is that this man got to travel to 80 countries before he passed away. He really lived life to the fullest, man. He's an inspiration to me, to everybody. He's creative. He didn't give a shit what anyone thought of him. Crazy outfits, crazy face paint, you know what I'm saying? Eclectic music. This man is such an inspiration, and this really is how you should live your life. Like, just living to the fullest, and that man really did that, man. I'm so inspired and proud of what he's achieved. So anyway, that's it from me. I'm going to have some more updates and some more topics for you guys later today. Yeah, hopefully you found that useful, man. Rest in peace to Oliver Tree.